Anyways,
My bad.
as for Steve Kerr, listen up, Knicks fans, and listen good. I don't know if any of you Jamokes actually wanted Steve Kerr, but the fact that he's not here is a good thing, a blessing in disguise. I wanted no part of Steve Kerr. You can check Keith Harrison Sports. I wrote an article about it weeks ago. So, I mean, listen, it's a good thing. Now, the problem is the names that are surfacing after the fact that Steve, now that Steve has chosen Golden State, the names that are surfacing are the likes of Luke Walton and Tyronn Lue and Jim Clemens and Brian Shaw. I mean, come on, man. I got to be honest. I'm appalled by hearing some of these names. Luke Walton and Tyronn Lue.
I mean, Derek Fisher, too.
I honestly, Derek Fisher is probably the best option out of all of them, and it's still not a good option.
Kobe says it's the best teammate he ever had.
I don't care anything that Kobe Bryant has to say.
I'm just saying. You guys got a lot of rings. So does Steve Kerr.
Well, I mean, everybody knows the obvious choice. I mean, I would go out and try to get a new free agent coach, Mark Jackson, and pick him up. But obviously, he doesn't run the triangle, so I don't think Phil's interested at all.
And it upsets me that we're only looking for guys that can run the triangle. I got to be honest. Phil Jackson is starting to really get under my skin a little bit now, man. Because I thought I was going to be okay with him just putting yes men in charge, man. It's really a little bit irritating, man. You're talking about you want a yes man so bad that you're going to throw out names like Luke Walton. Come on, you got to do better than that, Phil.
I just don't get why Patrick Ewing is not getting any play in New York, no matter who it is, whether Phil's in charge, whether Dolan was in charge, whatever.
Patrick Ewing and James Dolan, I mean, I'm sure they have a decent relationship, but there was a few tumultuous times. The fans really gave Patrick a hard time when he was here too. Like, you know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, there's maybe a few things under the table that we don't know about that might have gone on. I mean, I know that
talking like a Reggie Jackson.
James Dolan wasn't happy that Patrick Ewing wanted out at the end. You know?
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that, but the guy was a great Knick. Why not just give him a chance?
Me and Keith were talking a little earlier that Keith thought that maybe Dolan stuck his hands in the negotiations to mess up with Kerr.
He absolutely did. Jar? Now, whether you think he was the right guy for the job or not is irrelevant. I don't think he was the right guy for the job. But the fact of the matter is Phil Jackson did.
He's supposed to have all the power.
Phil Jackson is supposed to have full autonomy. That's the guy he wanted, and he didn't get him. Now, you ask the question, why? Well, the Knicks started off offering 3 years, $15 million for Steve Kerr's services.
Still a lot of money.
And that sounds like more than enough to me.
It's a lot of money.
Like, I'll be honest with you, I can't believe that Steve Kerr thumbed his nose up at that. But then the Warriors come out of nowhere with a 5-year, $25 million contract.
See, and I think that's too much money for someone who's never coached.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
It's like giving you or me $25
The only reason he got that money is because Phil Jackson put the stamp of approval on him. So then the Warriors came and outbid him. 5 years, $25 million. Dolan finally caved in and was like, all right, we'll give him the 4th year. 4 years, $20 million. But 4 years, $20 million is still less than 5 years, $25 million, and the Warriors have a better roster. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, Steve Kerr got his payday, man.
Especially to stay in your own home state.
Yeah.
I think he just took a page out of his mentor's book, out of Mr. Phil Jackson, and if you think about it, when Phil was, going to another team, he wasn't going to any team that had a garbage roster.
No, of course
not. And, I mean, he did exactly what he did. He picked a better team.
Phil Jackson.
Maybe not in the future, but right now it's the better roster. You got 2 pure shooters in your backcourt, 2 of the best shooters in the league.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got a good canvas to work with.
Phil Jackson has also used other teams to drive up his price.
Right, absolutely. And, I mean, that may have been what happened here a little bit, but I think that there was a genuine interest between Jackson and Kerr.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Plus, I think they would have enjoyed the idea of working together again, but I think Kerr was also using the Knicks a little bit to drive up his asking price.
No,
you know what? It seems like wherever these problems are, I mean, obviously he's the owner, but Dolan's involved. I was listening to the radio a little earlier, and when the Knicks had a chance to possibly grab, who was it, Aldridge, and they were willing to take on, well, I mean, at one point they had a chance to grab Aldridge a couple years ago, and Dolan got in the way. Then they had a chance to get rid of Amari's contract, and I believe it was Danny Ainge was willing to take it on. He got in the way. The Lowry deal, he got in the way. I mean,
listen, I'm not mad at James Dolan for getting in the way of some of those things, man. I gotta be honest.
No, listen, some of them were bad, but they were talking about it, and if he didn't get in the way on some of these, they would have had cap room for the possible LeBron sweepstakes part 2. Now, I'm not saying you want that, but I mean, they were talking about how good friends Carmelo and LeBron are. So, I mean, if they worked some of that magic at certain points, maybe the Amari deal just to get money off. I mean, I know that's an expiring deal now, but, you know, he would have – who knows? I mean, what if LeBron ended up playing with Carmelo in New York?
Well, I mean –
I think the storyline would be a lot different right now then. Phil Jackson probably wouldn't be here.
But
who knows?
And the Bargnani CAA instead of going with the
Well, that one Dolan
Yeah.
got involved in and forced that trade, and that was horrible. He should be ashamed of himself for pushing that one
Is he
through.
even coming
Yeah, he
back
pushed
next
that. That's
year?
what I'm saying. It's a bad deal. He pushed
he'll
it
be
through,
back.
and
Of
I
course
heard it
he'll be
was
back.
at the recommendation of CAA. Like, how could they have their hand in there that much?
Honestly,
I know
it's,
the whole.
it just shows you what kind of a joke the Knicks are. And if you thought that Phil Jackson coming was signified the end of those rainy days, apparently not. Because it looks to me that Phil Jackson was just brought in here for Dolan to save face, and that he's not going to really give him full autonomy. Otherwise, Steve Kerr would be the coach right now, and I wouldn't even be happy about that. But it would be Phil's guy, and
You'd feel better about.
I would feel better knowing that Phil got what he wanted at
right.
least.
You feel better about your front office. You
Right.
feel better about your organization as a whole, maybe. But you don't because, well, let's face it, he's not here. He's not going to be here, and odds are his team will be in the playoffs next year, and ours won't.
But you know what? And then so we can be mad at Jim Dolan there, but now I'm starting to get annoyed with Phil Jackson as well, though, and I'll tell you why. Steve Kerr, right? That was the number one runner for the job.
Yeah.
It made me furious. I'm glad he didn't come here. Now we're talking about Kurt Rambis and Jim Clemens and Luke Walton and Tyronn Lue and Derek Fisher. It's like I'm absolutely appalled at the names that are being thrown out there. Is Phil Jackson really this close-minded? Come on, you know that there are real candidates out there, and instead you're choosing to remain closed-minded to only candidates that are familiar with the triangle offense. It just seems foolish to me.
You know what I would love? I'm not a Knicks fan, but I think it would like surprise everybody. Crash. The media would go crazy. I don't know if he's willing to give up his current job.
Don't say it. I already know what you're going to
An
say.
ex-Knick coach.
Don't say. I knew you were going to say Van Gundy. I knew it.
He's amazing.
I like Van Gundy.
I mean, I don't want him to go off the air. I'm just selfish. I like listening to him do
Okay,
basketball games, and I don't think they would take Van
Listen.
Gundy because obviously he doesn't run the triangle. But
I-
if you could bring him back,
Who gives a crap about the damn triangle? Honestly,
I don't. But that's what
He
Phil
shouldn't-
Jackson wants.
He should have a coach that let him run his own damn system so they can win basketball games. Not what he wants.
I really think Phil wants.
Who gives a
puppet.
crap about the damn
Phil
triangle?
wants a yes man, but you did bring him in here so that he could turn this team around. So you do have to, it's not just bringing another coach and let him do what he wants. It does have to fall into some sort of system. But my point is that the triangle is not the only system. And I think it's what he coached but he as a player he was a part of a great system with Red Holzman. It's just all about ball movement and defense and just supporting your teammates, man. There's nothing that's a good system right there. I mean, yeah, there's the triangle offense is an intricate offense, man. It's a proven offense. It's worked in the past. But I just don't think it's the only way. I mean, I think any system with the fundamental principles involved in the triangle, it works.
Sure.
Like, I wouldn't mind having Van Gundy back.
No,
Listen,
I
here's
wouldn't
the thing.
either.
I wouldn't
Well,
mind.
But here's the thing: you can throw names around like Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. The fact of the matter is, Phil Jackson does not want that kind of coach.
What about Stan Van Gundy?
Stan
just
Van
got
Gundy
hired.
just got hired by
Oh.
the Pistons.
Good call. That's a good hire.
$7 million a pop for 5 years to be the coach and general manager.
Wow.
And Phil Jackson's getting 12 to just do one of those things.
Well, I mean that's the difference between New York and Detroit, though.
Right.
And he's Steve.
But that's a great pickup for Detroit.
Oh, I think so. Absolutely.
It's a great
Well,
pickup
You're not
by
going to get a
Detroit.
big name like that. You're going to get a yes man, and you're going to like it.
I want Tip.
That's Phil Jackson's mentality. I read that Phil Jackson doesn't care if he appeases the fans with this hire. You're going to take who you're going to take who Phil Jackson wants you to take, and you're going to like it. You're going to swallow your medicine, man. That's what it comes down to in Phil Jackson's mind.